I'm going to call this meeting to order, and we're going to get rolling. The first item of business is the approval or disapproval of the minutes for the May 28th meeting.
I move that we accept the minutes of the meeting.
Motion to accept the minutes. Do we have a second? Or do you need a second to read them?
No, I read them. I wasn't here to know if they were.
Well, I was here, so I will second it.
Janet?
Aye.
Norval?
Aye.
Kelly?
Aye.
All right. The next order of business is the approval or disapproval of the financial report.
Okay. We have $496,851.18 cash in the bank. Still to pay out for this year is the Heritage Clock. For $12,479.35. The Chamber of Commerce Tourism Center Secretary for $5,000. Nescatunga Arts Festival for $11,250. The Junior Renegade Tournament for $1,000. The Senior Renegade Tournament for $1,000. The Alva Education and Convention Center for $150,000. $5,000 to the 10th Annual Alva Fire Department Mudslingers. Flagpole wiring for the Alva Municipal Cemetery is $4,220. $14,950 to the Big Cruise and Car Show. $20,000 to the Alva Rotary Club 4th of July Spectacular. $20,433 to Oklahoma Today Magazine. Red Carpet Country 2015 Visitors Guide is $2,115, with $500 future and $2,500 standing, leaves $246,403.83. We did turn in, I believe, Friday, $3,000 worth of receipts for the chamber secretary, and that will be reflected on next month's financials.
So, Alex, I have a question on the, before we were showing several 100,000 of CDs.
Okay.
And now the city has gone to this, from what I read in the paper, all money into one big pool.
Pooled fund.
Is this all going to be in, is
you know,
the tourism funds that we administrate going to be in that pool fund?
I will find that out. I do not know that. Your CDs are still showing out there on page 1. And actually, I'm looking, it says claim on pool cash. I don't see anything, but I will verify that for you.
Okay.
I know that's a work in progress, but I will definitely find that out for you.
Okay.
I move that we accept the financial report as written.
Second.
Janet?
Aye.
Kelly?
Aye.
Norval?
Aye. All right, third item of business is the approval or disapproval of funds for the Woods County Fair Barbecue and Smoking Contest not to exceed $2,000. That's right.
Tyler Mance on behalf of the Woods County Fair, and David Hamill joined me. Each year we host, or each year for the past 5 years at least, we've hosted a barbecue contest on Saturday in an effort to try to help sustain our Woods County Fair and increase interest. In the past, you may remember things such as the antique tractor pull that used to happen, demolition derby, a number of things. Anyway, this is just another effort to increase activities out there during the fair and the fair time. The smoking contest, as you can see there, starts in the morning, runs through till the evening. It's followed by a brief awards banquet, and then a free feed to the public, and then last 2 years, I guess, we hired a band that plays after that. All of the activities are free to the public and open to the public. The contest, I guess, does have an entry fee, but it does have 100% payback. What more can I tell you? What more do you want to know?
I'm extremely interested in contests that involve food.
Sure.
What are the future plans for this? I mean, do you think that you can make this bigger and better?
Already, I mean, it's not to the level that we want it, of course. The first year, I think we had 5 teams, and it's grown each year. In 11, we had 6 teams. In 12, we had 12 teams. So we see the growth. 2 years ago was the last year that we had, or the first year, excuse me, that we had the feed, and it was honestly a little disappointing. We fed 40 people, but we figured out real quick that if there's a Northwestern game, we would kind of butt heads there or compete for attendance, I guess. Last year we fed 70 people, so still not at the level that we hoped to be, but certainly grew. Just growth. I've been in contact with the Oklahoma Barbecue Society, and they offer some. They're not to the level of KCBS, but they do offer where you can become a part of their points challenge. So that would create another draw for people, maybe not of this area, to become interested in coming. So that's
What's KCB?
Kansas City Barbecue Society. And so those are 2 things that I have inquired. I don't know that we're ready. We're not ready to go with KCBS standards yet, but I think the Oklahoma Barbecue Society, we could sure enough get them involved, which would help promote the contest.
So the people that come out to eat, what do they? Does the public just show up, or what is the?
Yes, and we try to coordinate the end of the cook-off and the awards with the beginning of the feed, so that they can become interested and maybe they'll want to compete or attend at least the following year. But yeah, just show up and eat. We've offered a pulled pork sandwich, baked beans and chips, and a drink. And
Is there a charge for that?
It's all free, or it has been so far. Yeah.
Good price.
So.
I'll move we approve the request for $2,000.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the request for $2,000 to the Woods County Fair Barbecue and Smoking Contest.
Kelly?
Yes.
Janet?
Yes.
Norval?
Yes. You're done?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Phil.
Next is the approval or disapproval of funds for the event coordinator position. Not to exceed $75,519.
Melinda Barton is here with me this evening. We've been working on putting together this position. We're very excited to bring this to you this evening. This position is a full-time event coordinator position that we're applying for. The funding request on the application is for 1 year, or for a 1-year position, and this includes startup costs. So the amount that you see is not just a salary. This includes a compensation package, marketing and advertising of the job, office expenses and overhead, office furniture and equipment. Much of this expense, like I said, is a startup and is a one-time only expense. There is a chance that some of these funds may not be used. For example, if we were to hire somebody and they may not be able to do all the graphic programs or graphics that we need, we probably wouldn't need a graphic suite. So there's certain things that we would not have to use. And also, when marketing a position like this, if we were to, by our cutoff, find the applicants that we need or that we think that we can go ahead and interview, we wouldn't have to advertise again. So we would save funding on advertising. So you may be asking, What is an event coordinator, and why does Alva need this position? Tourism, and you guys are the tourism committee, is the travel for recreational, leisure, family, or business purposes. And this usually is for a limited time and often is for an event. Most of us travel or tour when we're going to an event. And for a town of our size, we have an amazing amount of events already in place. For example, Nescatunga Arts Festival, Northwestern Homecoming, the Woods County Fair. You guys heard an event a minute ago that has spun off of that fair. The car show, the Northwestern Rodeo, the Mud Run, the Rotary 4th of July, benefit golf tournaments like Nescatunga. And these are just to name a few. Many of these events have been around for years. Many of them have an aging volunteer base, and I spoke with somebody this week who has an event and it's really a challenge to find volunteers to help. Parents want to be involved with their kids' activities, not running a concession stand or taking gate. So a person like an event coordinator can help recruit volunteers and help bring activity and livelihood to an event. Another responsibility of an event coordinator is to assist with marketing and social media. Many of our events today need a social media aspect. I'm at the chamber, and social media right now is huge. People want to see something they want to see something every day that's new, and that people are seeking their information and their news through social media. So this person, we hope, would be able to give that to existing events and, of course, to new events. We hope that this person can manage correspondence of an event, take calls, and help educate people who are calling in regarding an event, market, publicize the event, help to buy media, again, help with social media, negotiate and secure event space and entertainers. That's huge to, not everybody knows how to call up an entertainer and understand what would be needed to have an event in our community. So we hope that they would be able to put together promotional material for an event or help an existing event make their promotional material better or get it out to new places. We hope that they would help identify funding sources such as the tourism tax for an event and prepare information that would help when they're seeking sponsorship. If they're going after a sponsor, to be able to have the right kind of information that sponsor needs, whether, for what that's worth. We hope that they would target and invite potential participants. For example, the Department of Tourism, the State Department of Tourism, has vendor lists, people who want to be on file with the state to be at a trade show. So if you're having a trade show, and let's say it's a craft show, the State Department of Tourism has these lists, and they would be able to utilize and know where to find that type of product. The events I listed earlier, just a few that Alva is capable of hosting. There are so many other events that Alva could have and host. You guys just approved funding for the Cherokee Strip Museum Education and Event Center. There are so many events that could be held at that facility. For example, a craft show. I knew that the new hot item is repurposed furniture. I could see somebody having an event like that out there. Alva has a downtown arts district. The sky is the limit as to the events that we could have down there. Concerts on the square. I know that used to take place. I think now's the time to bring those back with the right kind of person, or maybe even a taste of Alva. We hope this person will track data, demographic type data on an event. We hope that they can give us feedback on how many people are attending, and that would help in so many ways to tell people who's coming to our community, to help restaurants plan for events, that they aren't overwhelmed when a huge event comes to town, and they know to be able to prepare for food, things like that. We would hope that they would have a meeting, a post-meeting, to give a roundup or an evaluation of the event. So we think that would be a great asset to have for planning for everyone. The use of an event coordinator. We are going to charge a nominal fee, And this is to ensure that the event coordinator has a commitment from that event, that they're going to utilize their services, that this person is putting in hours of time with this event, that they have a buy-in. And so we're going to put that into place as well.
And they don't become the social chairman for every family reunion and
Yes.
things like that happen in town, and people are calling in and saying, oh, we're having our family reunion, can you help us? There's a charge. Oh, so, you know, we want this to be real tourism type events, not just, you know, things that
That
people
wouldn't
come up
prevent someone calling and asking.
with. It wouldn't prevent
sure.
someone from calling and asking, but they would have to pay the fee if they did use it.
Sure.
And where does the fee go?
So, the fee will go back into the chamber.
Yeah. This will help to offset some of those expenses. And this is just, this fee structure is, you know, this is the first time we're doing it. We will reevaluate after a year. If this isn't effective, we'll try to figure out something else for next year. But yes, it would go into the cost of having that employee at the chamber office.
So we're to provide salary for this person. In turn, this person will charge an event. Then that event will turn around and charge the tourism again in their expenses. And the chamber benefits from this.
That staff person will, yes, it will go into the fund
For the staff person.
for the staff person.
But the money from tourism is going to go directly to the chamber instead of back into tourism.
So that
Because,
again,
okay, if an event charges tourism for the expense of your time, and we are already, the tourism committee is already funding that person, then the chamber basically is getting $150 from tourism. Instead of that money coming back into
Sure.
tourism.
yeah. But it would help to go into the expenses of having that person there. I mean, what we've come up with for a budget
But
is
that's
what we
double
anticipate.
dipping, isn't it?
I don't think, in looking at the expenses that are identified outside of the salary and benefits, I don't think those expenses are fully reflective of what the chamber will do in kind to ensure that that position is successful. Whether it be printing, postage, other, office space is certainly worth more than $150 an event.
And we're going to have events like she talked about, some reunion that calls in. Yes, we're not going to be able to put them on the calendar and say, we can help you, but we're going to be fielding, that person is going to be fielding calls from all kinds of groups and organizations. And so, yes, that group is going to be paying a fee, but they're going to be assisting other events as well.
And not every event comes to the tourism committee for.
Yeah, there are many
It's
events
funded.
that aren't going to be coming to tourism for funds.
I mean, is there a list of events in the packet?
There was a list in their packet.
So,
But
And not all of
majority
those events.
aren't going to ask for your help. Northwestern Homecoming. They already have a huge committee that does that.
Sure.
The Woods County Fair has a huge committee that takes care of that.
But we hope, and this person we hope is not obtrusive and can go to those events and say, what can we do to help you? For example, the Woods County Fair. I see that as a group that would reach out to us for assistance.
But would they pay the fee? Because some of these smaller groups
Sure.
are barely breaking even.
Sure.
And they're not going to fork over
But we hope that this
$150
service-
out of their pocket.
Sure, we hope that this service helps them to come up with more funding to make them more successful,
so
and
that,
so that they'll be able to
Right.
pay a fee like that. I mean, many of them are not seeking sponsorships or donations that they could be getting to help with their event.
And I do notice your new event fee is only $100.
Yeah, I mean, a new event, it's nominal.
it's nominal. The only reason that the fee is there is to secure a commitment from that organization that they're a viable event, that they are truly going to work with the coordinator. That's
That this
That's
person
important.
hasn't spent 20 hours or more on an event, and then they
So
say,
you're
well,
gonna
you
get the
don't
money
really
up front before the event ever happens?
There'll be some kind of an agreement.
Yeah, I mean, we
So-
haven't.
So,
And
I
who will
think
the
that,
coordinator report to?
To the Chamber of Commerce, to me as the director, and then ultimately a board of directors that oversees myself.
So why isn't the chamber footing half the bill for this?
Chamber can't afford it.
Can tourism? Because we have a budget too, we have to uphold, which I have not seen. the
Well,
budget.
and I'll kind of close with what I was going to say is we feel that this fits the ordinance, that this fits what the tourism tax is about. We're bringing, somebody who's going to do research, develop advertising, promotional programs, materials, and make our
For
city
the chamber.
for our city.
for our city, for the events that
For
are
the
happening
events
in
that
Alva.
happen in Alva, that bring people to Alva, that help.
They help the
They
retail
help everything.
businesses, they help the restaurants, they help the hotels. I mean, everybody
Okay, so
benefits.
You have these reports that you're going to generate. Who gets the reports?
We ultimately would like to bring them back to this group. We hope that it helps those events for the future. We want to bring back in a year to this group our findings. I mean, at this point, I don't know of anybody are you pulling data for the car show? We don't know of anybody that.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Yeah.
yeah, some. but-
Some, but I think having some data to be able to go forward would be amazing. I mean, it would help.
So how are you going to get this data then to the restaurants?
Well, I think, that one of the things that this person could do would be to work on just a monthly calendar that is posted somewhere online where they can look. My son had a baseball game last night, and we went to McDonald's after the baseball game, and McDonald's was like, what's going on? It's 9:30. Where did all these people come from? People need to be aware of events that are happening, and that may not be one that comes to the tourism committee, but things like that happen. And I've been other places before where they weren't aware of things that were going on.
And we as
The
a chamber
tournament,
try, but if we don't have we keep a calendar and we try to update it every time we find an event, and we glean the newsgram. We're searching for that stuff, but this person can also help us to.
Make sure the
To
restaurants
manage all
know
of it.
to manage all of it.
Mhm.
It's,
Because for example, the Northwestern Rodeo, we need to have some information to be able to give to all these restaurants, especially a new one that opens, or even Atwood's, to let them know, hey, we're going to have a rush of people for 3 days straight. Be prepared. And we would like to be able to do that.
Okay, so can't Jody do that? Make a calendar and just put it out to everybody?
We have a calendar
there's
already.
there's a count, but this person will be, working with the event and working with all the residual things that
Only
happen
if they
outside.
Only if they pay.
If they pay.
I don't
Is the
see that
Northwestern-
fee as a barrier.
I don't think that fee is we've
That
talked about
fee
this
is
on our committee,
ridiculous.
and we've gone over how much should the fee be? What should we do? Is it an hourly thing?
We
Is it
actually looked at an hourly rate of if the person's used 2 hours, do we charge an hourly fee? And so we finally came to the conclusion of a nominal fee that we thought would be.
And how many towns Alva's size has an event coordinator?
How many towns Alva size has a tourism committee?
We're very unique for a community of our size to have a hotel motel tax, and other communities allot funding out of their hotel motel tax for a position like that. If you do research, there's a lot of times they take a chunk out of that money each year for somebody that runs a convention center or is an event coordinator.
And where would this person be housed?
They'll be up at the chamber office. And that's why we have some of these startup costs is to set up we have office space, but we need to be able to put them, you have a computer for them and a desk and things, just a minimal startup to put them in there.
Okay, so how does a desk and a chair and a computer promote tourism? That's
Well, they use it as a tool of their trade, and
I know, but it's office equipment. It doesn't promote tourism by itself.
but it will. I mean, if you don't have those tools, then you're not able to, help the tourism or the events
That
recruit
event were to
volunteers.
come to your office to meet with you. This person needs to be able to sit at a desk and pull stuff up on the computer to be able to show them an ad or be able to show them a website, or they need to be able to.
They need a desk. I just don't believe that tourism should fund that.
I just want to say that when we passed this tax 14 years ago, we worked hard because we had no way to help our events in town. And I see this as a step that we're taking in addition to that, and it's really going to help these events to become even more than they are. Instead of we're losing volunteers, we don't have people to run these. And I think that the most important thing that this event coordinator will bring is to help our events continue into the future. And I'm sure that all of you can think of things that happened in Alva 25 years ago that don't happen now. And some of that is because there are not volunteers who are recruited to do that. People like to help, they like to be asked, and I think that this person will be major in helping keep those events going, making them new and improved as we move along in time. It'll help to rejuvenate what we have now. This is a really a needed thing.
For example, the car show grows every year, and they bring new pieces to that. This person can help them to continue that momentum and help continue it. And Norval's been involved for 15 years? Is that right?
14 years.
14 years. And so, and they'd like to probably add new things like social media to the event to make it, to let people know about our event. And so I think this person would be.
I think this is highly important for our community. I think that the missing piece in a lot of events that happens, or in a lot of events that happen around Alva, is planning. And I think that is a challenge to volunteer groups that not only come before this committee and seek funding, is that the planning aspect. Is their plan good enough for us to fund it with tax dollars? And I think we need a skilled professional in our community that can not only help these volunteer groups prepare their plans, because frankly the events I'm involved with, and I wouldn't imagine that many of the other large events for this community are different, but the planning is the most difficult aspect of it.
Sure.
Getting the boots on the ground the day of the event to have fun and pull off an event, that's generally the easy part. The planning, we've been preparing for the 4th of July fireworks show for the last 3 months. The planning is what takes the most time.
Sure.
And that's why I think that this community has done very well without this position up to this point. But I also have seen instances where, had someone been in this position to help transition new leadership into, car show's probably going to be coming up on that before long. Rotary went through it a few years ago.
Sure.
With the fireworks show. The Moose Lodge was a one and done with their haunted house because of not having someone that could coordinate the planning and efforts that went into doing that event on an annual basis.
And I know you guys.
I move that we approve this request
Okay, you have to.
for the amount of, where did it go? Up to, not to exceed $75,518.
We have a motion to approve the event coordinator position for not to exceed $75,518. this is a great, could be a great thing for Alva. It's a bit of an experiment, but I can see this doing a lot of good, and hopefully being something that pays for itself in tourism funds that come back to this committee in a way by increasing the tourists in this town, which is what this whole committee is about. And if we put more booths in the hotels, more money comes back to this committee. So that said, I will second this motion.
Kelly,
Yes.
Norval,
Yes.
Janet,
No.
All right.
thank you.
Next is the approval or disapproval of funds for the Senior Renegade Tournament.
You have junior listed first.
Oh, I guess
That
we do
matters.
Junior Renegade Tournament, my mistake.
My name is Bill Costello, and that's Richard Meeser, and we're both with the Renegades. We've been on the board now for about 5 years, and have taken the team from just about where it was going to stop playing to where it's at now. It was probably 4 years ago when we came in front of this board the first time and asked for money for our team to run for the year, and they told us that they would only give us money for a tournament, that we could use a tournament as a fundraiser, and that they would pay all the expenses, and then we could go ahead and then gain money that way and have it for the rest of the year for operating expense. So at that time, they awarded us the money, but we didn't understand the rules on that we actually had to turn in receipts within 90 days to get it, so we never got it. And that's been about 4 years ago, and we haven't come back in front of them because we just, with Richard and I doing this on our own, as volunteers, we've not been organized enough. So this year we actually had the coaches, and you see in front of you like a spreadsheet that'll show, what we thought the tournament would cost and do. And we were asking for the total expense of it just about. So we thought, because of our experience before, that when Richard came in front of the committee 2 months ago, that it was just going to be yes, and you got the money. We didn't know that you would have questions or wonder, what does the Renegades do for Alva? But everything the Renegades does for Alva has to do with tourism. We have 2 teams right now, which we started out with only 1, and we barely had enough kids come out for a tryout for that 1 team. Now we have 2, and we're actually having to cut kids, which is not the thing that we want to be doing. So next year we're going to add a 3rd team, and it's going to give us a better level of play for the kids that are ready for it, and we'll still have a team. Like our younger Renegades right now, they're 24-0. We have them playing in a league that probably they can play in a better league because they're not getting a ton of competition, but they're really good and they're really well coached, which helps a lot. We do pay for our coaches at this level. The 2 coaches that we use are employed by the college during the school year as baseball coaches, so it's not just a father that we hire that watches baseball and grew up playing that thinks he knows what he's talking about. These are actually people that are employed to be coaches. In order for us to keep them here in Alva, we have had to pay for that, and it is getting very expensive, which again this year is what brings us to you. We were both trying to figure out how we were going to raise money this year. And every year we get a little close on money. It's all right to call someone and ask, can you donate a little bit, or some of the new oil companies in town. But this year it's been harder and harder to get people that want to give us money again. Now we call people on the phone, they won't answer half the time because they know this time of year what we're looking for. So we thought we would come back in front of you. I gave you numbers earlier. The Junior Renegades did play last weekend, and those are the actual numbers. The only number on that sheet that is not exact is the prize, which was $600 spent on prizes. We have not spent that money yet. Alva was the winner of the tournament. We were going to buy them bags with their names and the tournament stuff on it. What are those bags called?
Just the shoe bags.
The shoe bags for them all, and then maybe a shirt as well. When I talked to the coach today, he said the number may come in a little bit less than the 600. The rest of the numbers on there were actual numbers. We had 22 games over a 3-day period, and we brought 8 teams to town. You know, when they come in town to play on a Friday, they may play at 2 o'clock on Friday and then again at 6 o'clock. So they have all that time between there to look around Alva, to experience Alva, some of these people for the first time. So they get to see now what our community has to offer. Many of these people probably didn't know we had new hotels to even come and stay here. And they get to see that while they're here. They get to go to Atwood's and Walmart and shopping, and you see that we have some new restaurants around as well. And all of that is just all tourism that keeps, you know, coming to town from our team. Plus, every game we play during the regular season is, we don't play like there's no Alva teams, not like a rec league where we have kids from Alva. We're playing teams that are from all different areas. So every time they come in and play a doubleheader, you know, they come usually for a 6 o'clock game and stay for 2 games. So there's usually dinner involved, gas. So it's a big tourism impact, and then they get to see again what Alva is all about. The people that come for the 3-day tournament, many of them stay here. Did you all see the list that we have for the teams coming this weekend? Well, as you can see on that list, I know the teams from Wichita probably aren't going to have much of a choice but to stay down here if they've been able to find rooms. A couple of those towns I wasn't sure where they're even from. But I would imagine that if there is hotel space, they will be staying in it. Costs have kept going up every year. We now pay people to run our concession stand, and we pay people to collect money at the gate. Parents today would rather watch their kids play than help. There was always a few select, as there always is on every team, but then most of them just didn't want to do it anymore. And it was come to the point where it was myself, Richard, and his wife that were stuck having to do it all. I went to Walmart last Thursday and bought $800 worth of pop and Gatorade and water. And I had the coaches help me since we pay them. And then we've also hired a guy named Scott Ball, who's the high school teacher as well as their baseball coach, to help us run the concession stand. And he also is paid to take care of Crenshaw Field. And I don't know if any of you have gone by to see Crenshaw Field lately, but it's absolutely beautiful. And it's getting back to the way that it used to be, which I was told how it was when, 20 or 30 years ago, when it was built. Supposedly it was beautiful. Right now the grounds out there are gorgeous. And we do play most of our games at the college field, which again gives Alva the impact. Every kid that comes here to play, once they see Alva and begin to like it and see how nice the fields are, and they're already with the college coaches, might be making decisions at that time where they want to come, and go to college here. And I don't know what the tourism effect is on one college student, if you all have numbers on that, but it's got to be great. I mean, the kids' parents are going to come visit at certain times. They're going to come back for graduation. He's going to come back for reunions, for all kinds of things that they're going to fill hotels with. And I think our team, I know this year we also have players on both teams that are not from Alva. Where are the ones we have from out of town? I know we have
Sealing, Palm Creek, Blackwell, Oklahoma, Medicine Lodge, Kansas, what else is there? Sealing, Fairview, Comas. We had some Medford kids at one time. So there's quite a few coming from all areas.
And we actually have one of them that's on the older kids team that has committed to go to Northwestern because of coaching that he likes. And he's going to try to be a walk-on there. But he's committed to go there to the college. So we feel that impact on the community is also a great thing. So what we are asking for in both of these, which is your item 3 and 4 on our sheet today, is the total amount. Richard came before 2 months ago, and you all offered him $1,000 for each tournament. So I came back in front of you again today because financially we're not going to make it this year unless we get some more money. And next year we're probably going to add that third team, and we'd like to get through this year with maybe having a little extra in the account. We still owe our coaches, at the end of the year. We owe Scott Ball his money at the end of the year. We just had our team today is on their way back from Omaha, Nebraska. The older kids went up there. We thought it was a good experience for them to go up while the College World Series is going on, because all of these kids on our older team will be in college either next year or the years to come. So they got to see what college baseball was about and go up to a real neat atmosphere. Since most of the parents went along, we were able to save ourselves some money, and we didn't send them in vans, which was going to cost us more money, and thank God we did now, because we don't have the money really to do it. But still, the trip, just that one tournament, was going to cost us over $4,500 to send our kids up there to play.
So, educate us a little bit on the team structure in Alva. I know there's other teams, Cardinals, and I don't know what else.
The Renegades have been around for a long time. What happened was when my son became the Cardinals, 12 and under, there was nothing in Alva at that time for him to play. They had an older Renegade team that was just kind of still a stalemate there. So I helped my son out, sent him to 3 or 4 camps, paid about $1,500, $2,000 to send him to these camps. Well, he turned 14, and I didn't want to send him to camps no more. So he joined the 19 and under Renegades and started playing there. Well, it gave him a boost of confidence, but a lot of these 14-year-olds today can't handle 19-year-old pitchers. You know, they just. So I got involved with the help of Bill, and his son was also playing. We decided to start a younger team, and the Renegades, the older Renegades, kind of fell apart. So we was basically 17 and under is what we were the first year. And then now we've developed into a junior high program and a high school program. And that's what we do is the 12 and under Cardinals are there, and then the next step up, they stay in Alva and they play here in high school instead of going to Enid or Woodward Travelers. And that's, we're trying to compete with the Woodward Travelers that run on a huge budget, 100,000. I mean, they just bought a brand new 29-passenger van bus, but they have 15 to 20 person board that's all they do all year long is help them out. So, and then the Enid is ran through the David Allen Ballpark over there, and they got a lot of good supporters there. Here, we've lost a lot of our older American Legion guys that did this. I mean, I think 3 years ago we still had them helping keep gate down to high school when we was playing, and since then we don't have any active members. So.
Well, they used to give us money as well.
Yeah, the American Legion used to
give
give
us
us
money. Ran out. We are not affiliated this year with the American Legion, but think next year that we might get back in it. The first year that we were affiliated with them, which was probably 4 years ago, the tournament at the end of the season was over in by Bartlesville, and we were not treated very good, and we were like the rented stepkids, just because. And there aren't very many American Legion teams for us to play the schedule. So when we first got involved, what Richard and I did is saw the class of players that we had, and we went out and found games. And we were able to schedule. The year before we took over, they had 40 games scheduled and only ended up playing 20 of them. And it was not due to weather, it was due to just the fact that they did not stay organized enough to make sure that the teams were going to come to town and they were actually going to play. So it didn't work out that well, so that's when him and I got involved, and we made sure that we've not missed a game now. When we play a team, we call to make sure they're still coming. And before we drive to Ponca City or somewhere, we call them to make sure they've got enough players and that they're going to be there. But the numbers that are coming up behind them, like you had asked before, the younger teams, there are a lot of different younger teams that have come off by just guys doing it on their own. One time my youngest son played for the Alva Yankees, and the Alva Yankees were started by Brandon Long because there was not a younger team that he wanted his son to play on. He didn't like the Cardinals for some reason. So the Alva Yankees came around. So it's the Yankees and the Cardinals. But once they get to the age of the 13, 14, and 15, there's nowhere for them to play but us. And that's why next year we're going to have to add an extra team in that younger group, because the younger kids that are coming up, there's going to be a lot of them. The older kids right now that are in the juniors and seniors next year in high school, there's not as many ball players there. But when you get down into the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, Cody Hooper can tell you his football season this last year, I mean, he just had so many kids come out for his middle school program. And the same thing with baseball. He coached baseball at the middle school level. So we finally got a good middle school coach. But also the Renegades is helping the high school and the ultimate with the better teams as well. But we are in dire need of some money this year, and we're hoping that with all the things that we do for tourism.
So are you asking for $4,784 tonight? Because you've already been awarded $1,000.
Right, so we would take that 1,000 away from that figure there.
So
That's
the total you're asking for is $3,748.
Would be for tonight, yes, since you already awarded us 1,000. And it's the same thing for the other team, which plays this weekend. After the weekend, we'll see how we do, and I'll have the numbers again available, and then we'll know where we stood on what it cost us. Even like the concession stand numbers in there, it doesn't dictate the money that I spent on all the Gatorades and Pops and water we got. That was just what we brought in as our profit from the weekend off of it. And you can see we didn't do that very well on our concession stand, so obviously the restaurants in town are getting the impact. I know I was at Walmart the one day buying more buns and water for the one team, or for the college up there, and there were some teams that were off, and they were all in Walmart shopping, while they were waiting for their next game.
So why isn't your concession expenses on this list?
We're just not organized enough to get it all in there. Last week I spent it was $820 at Walmart just on the drinks, but we will use those drinks this week in the tournament. The only ones we ran out of was water. The rest of them we still have a lot of Gatorade and Pop, so we'll use that again this weekend, and then anything that's left we will use for the remainder of the season. It's hard to I don't know, like we went at the beginning of the year and spent enough money on the concession, and then we could keep it like an inventory control. But we don't have the manpower to do it. Richard and I are not paid in any way, shape, or form. We don't have any relatives, friends, or anything that work for our organization, so we in no way benefit. All it does is cost them a lot of money to be a part of this.
So why don't you make your kids go out and fundraise like everybody else?
We did do raffle tickets with them this year. If they didn't have the money to pay for their, how much was it to join the team, 200 or 300?
250.
250. They had to go out and sell raffle tickets to come up with some money for us. We also do the banners. If you've ever been up by the high school field, you'll see banners in the outfield. Well, all the companies' names that are up there pay $300 a year for that, and half the money goes to the high school program and half goes to us. And then another fundraiser we do is a coyote calling contest every December. When we first started it, we had 8 teams, and last year we were up to 28. And now these guys come in town on a Friday night, and they spend Friday night here, and then they hunt all day Saturday. So we've got, 50-some guys in town. They come to our rules meeting Friday night, and then they come back Saturday night, and we have a cookout for them, and drinks, and we go through the community. Richard goes through the community, and we get all sorts of raffle prizes. So most everybody that's in our calling contest leaves with something. We usually have 3 or 4 grand prizes, like rifles or these new coolers that'll last for 3 or 4 days with ice in them. And what other prizes we had? They're just the big ones.
Just all kinds of hunting, anything to do with hunting and outdoors, grills, got donated. But the raffle, the money that we get is just to cover the cost of the uniforms and the balls, and we basically start over each year scratch. We are a true nonprofit organization.
The reason why I'm asking, you're bringing in all this revenue. You're making $3,850 off of teams, concession, and gate. Your expenses are only $5,661, which leaves you a balance of $1,811, but you're asking us for over $4,000, or almost $4,000. That doesn't make sense to me, because you're already bringing in revenue for balls, for uniforms, for travel expenses, and now you're asking us again for more balls. And
well, this is the balls that were used in the tournament. And also where we're not getting the money for those, we're not making enough money to pay the fee that we have to pay our coaches.
That should be on your expense report.
Well, this is just the tournament expense. The
That's
coaches
what
be
you are
paid.
asking for is tournament expenses, though.
Yes, but the coaches get paid on a season basis. They are paid for the season. So to figure out what they make just on the 3 days for the tournament, is not added into that. Our team needs the money to help us throughout the whole year's expenses. And this tournament was to be used as a fundraiser. With your help, it would be. With our help doing it, it's not a very good fundraiser. Because once we end up paying these coaches at the end of the year, then we're back to about zero if we get this money from you. If not, Richard and I will be out pounding the pavement again, knocking on your door and anybody's door we could think of that might come up with a little money to help us get through the rest of the year.
What do you reckon it costs a kid to play for a season? Not their entry fee, but the total cost for one kid to play.
Well, after we have insurance and everything on it, I'm sure we're spending more than $600 plus on the kids.
Oh, yeah.
And
I
we've
mean,
got
just the umpires alone now, are $100 a game to have them come out there. The insurance that we have to cover all the players. We had a little guy this year, the catcher for our younger team, broke his wrist. So we have to be insured.
And I would say, based on what my child experienced, just at 7 years old, that's probably accurate, particularly when you get up into the junior high and high school levels.
Well, these coaches are really good coaches, and we're having to pay them probably more than what you would pay a coach for Alva, but not more than you would pay a coach that might be in the Cape Cod League or a good league in Colorado.
Rocky
But we
Mountain
need to,
League, Jayhawk League.
we need to keep these coaches here in order for our kids to want to play here. Otherwise, we're going to lose the good players. We lost a couple this year that went to play. Where'd Cooper go?
Cooper went to Enid.
Cooper went to Enid. And we had a lot of kids on the older team that just got older, so we're young. Our oldest team right now is younger, but and the same thing with the maintenance of the field. Richard and I don't have time to go out there and keep it the way it is. Have you gone by and seen it at all lately? Isn't it beautiful now? And the grass is green, it's manicured. He was up there cutting it every single day. Last week before the games, we actually had a leak that we found last Thursday night. We couldn't figure out where it was coming from. So we had to burn the infield with diesel on Friday and get it ready for that 2 o'clock game. It was a scramble. We actually had to dig a hole and we put a plastic box in the field. And in between games, we were out there emptying it. That's where we had a little field maintenance come up.
So how many out of town or home games that bring out of town teams do the Renegades play in the season?
Norval, I just counted it up, and it looks like there are 8 days that there are games in Alva out of the 26 altogether.
For each team?
There's 26 dates on the Junior Renegade schedule.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
8 of those, 8 dates.
Yeah, there was 8 plus we got, due to the weather in Woodward. Luckily, our turf field, Northwestern field, is able to, anytime inclement weather's coming in, they want to transfer everything here. But the drop of a hat, we transferred everything here, and we had teams coming here, 8 teams on a one-day tournament come over here that was supposed to be in Woodward that we brought from there.
So 2 tournaments and 5 or 6 other days where we're probably playing double headers.
Yes,
All of them are done.
And Alva is by far on this location list, whether at Northwestern or Crenshaw, more games than Enid, more games than Woodward. I mean, you had that other tournament, you got almost half the games that have been played in your league right here in Alva.
yes.
And I don't recall the previous deal where we said, but we do, we greatly encourage tournaments and stuff like that, and they need to make money. I would just say that, the deal of this committee is for tourism, and so in the future, I would say, you would want to show possibly all the out-of-town games and things like that. Those are actual tourism events when we actually bring people in from the outside, and I think you would want to include those in any future application along with a total breakdown of cost, because this is a very numbers-orientated committee that, as you can tell, is looking at numbers all the time.
See, the first time we came in front of this committee, I didn't want to hear any of that. And they told us 4 years ago that to tell them what the cost is of the tournament, and we told them, they said, all right, we'll award you that amount. And then they said, what are you going to do with prizes? And we said, we hadn't even thought about that, and they threw an extra $500 in for the prizes. And they were not concerned with anything else. So that's why this year, when we came to you, we just assumed, I guess we were going to find the same people here. And, you know, the way that our sheet is this year, I mean, if you saw what we turned in the first time, Alex will tell you, from what we have now, I mean, this is really sophisticated for us.
Yeah, the committee has gotten a little more
So
sophisticated.
yeah, your committee has also gotten
14 years.
a lot sophisticated, but every one of these games that we have that are in town, and I put the schedules for each team on one of the pages, and I think it's the back page, and it'll show you all the teams that come here and have played.
And the biggest reason why, like our concession, like I said, he spent $811, $820 at Walmart. We also buy all of our meat here from Wittets locally. We don't go out of town to buy it. We buy everything here. That wasn't cheap. We bought 100 and some hamburgers and 100 and some hot dogs. So I don't know how much that was, but most of these people come here, doubleheader, they play twice, you know, like you said, at noon or 6 o'clock. They don't want to sit up there and eat. They're going to go sit in the air conditioner at Almaya or Taco Maya or Taco Village and stuff like that. And that, I mean, truthfully, it kills our concession. I mean, sometimes I scratch my head and wonder why we even do it.
Well, okay, here's where I'm coming from. If you're asking money for a tournament, that's great. Don't tell me that you're trying to fund your whole season with this money. Because all we're going to approve is tournament expenses only. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to fund the Renegades for an entire season, because then we'll have every baseball team and every softball team in here wanting us to fund their entire season.
Well,
I want to fund only tournament expenses.
And that's why we came through with that list. In front of you is the tournament expenses of the 4,700, I think it is. And you've already agreed to give us 1,000. So if you give us the other 3,700, I believe that's where the old board stood their ground. Because, you know, I started with the fact that the old board, I said, look, we're the only team in the area that hires their coaching. Everybody else has got mom and dad out there. But we're actually paying, because the kids are getting older. They need to see what it's going to be like to have a different coach than dad. And most of them experience when they get to the middle school level. You know, the first time they have to see it is a middle school coach in basketball, baseball, and football. Then they get to experience it with us, and then again in high school.
But if your tournament expenses balance out to $1,800, I think we should only have to fund $811.
What are we making, 5,000?
I mean, the math's right. I mean, that's what I come up with too. You know, big picture, the application may need, you may need an event planner to help you with your planning and application.
Well, we
stuff.
have.
And we may be able to make something happen for you.
I actually met with her yesterday.
But I think the tournament is important to the success of the league. Correct?
Yes.
I think without the league, we're not even talking about having a tournament, obviously. And one feeds the other. By the time kids get up into junior high and high school, it is more difficult for them to compete for fundraising because there are so many junior high and high school events that are out there. That said, you probably should still keep after it.
Mm-hmm.
I think the efforts to continue doing what you're doing, if you add another team next year, I think we're going to, you know, rather than seeing a third to half of the ball games played in Alva, you're going to see half to three quarters. And I think that's important, and those types of things need to become started. My biggest challenge is trying to figure out what that dollar amount is. I think we should give you some money today. I think it should be more than the difference. But I think you will have to have it. It's not going to be. It's because of the way the application process is. It can't exceed what's per line item what's been requested. So, I mean, if baseball's cost you $660, I mean, I'm not looking at it right now, $440. But you can't turn in a receipt for $800 for baseballs. I mean,
I move that we approve $2,000 for the Renegades Junior Tournament, not to exceed $2,000. I think it is $2,000.
I'll second that.
Janet?
Aye.
Kelly?
Aye.
Norval?
Aye.
And that is for the junior tournament.
All right, next item on the agenda is the approval or disapproval of funds for the Senior Renegade Tournament.
About the same spiel.
Thanks. Same thing. Daryl, would you play that back, please?
Can we get a
I'll move we approve $2,000 for the Senior Renegade Tournament.
second?
Kelly?
Yes.
Janet?
Aye.
Norval?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We really don't have anything on the agenda for new business or old business. So really the next item on the agenda is a motion for adjournment.
I move that we adjourn.
I'll second the adjournment.
Oh, I didn't know.
Janet?
Adjournment needed a second.
Aye. Norval?
Aye.